Hello viewers, welcome to this week's edition of your popular program, Political View, reaching you live from Heritage Studio here in London. Here in the studio with me is Mr. Ayo Akinfe. He's a journalist and author. Welcome, Mr.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
So how's the preparation for the election in Nigeria?
Well, looking forward to it with keen interest. Very interesting, very exciting. Yeah.
Now it's countdown now.
Countdown.
Closing, extremely close to D-Day.
Yes,
series of allegation and counter allegation within the two main political parties. So what's going to be your take on the whole scenario that is playing up?
Well, the way I see it, it's, as you rightly said, it's a two-horse race. We've got 10 days to go, and I think both parties will be going flat out to win over those floating voters in the last week. Obviously, I can see a lot of stomach infrastructure exchanging hands, and people being wooed with all sorts of goodies, promises of appointment, promises of investment, rice, Gary, you name it. I think they will do everything.
Election time in Nigeria is a crucial time. And when you look at, when we go back to history, look at all the election. Looking at those campaigns, the memory of that June 12th is coming to my mind. And I look at that time, compare it with now, it's like a very huge difference. Don't you observe that? The momentum of them, that is like, we all know precisely where the voting is going. But in this direction now, when you look at tomorrow, you say, okay, when you are looking at the situation today, by tomorrow, things is changing. You cannot say precisely where it's going. What is your view on that? Do you observe that as well?
Yeah, I do. It's a cliffhanger. It could swing either way. A lot of the political gladiators are not sure which way it's going to go. So that's why you've still got a lot of decamping at this last minute. APC chieftains join PDP, PDP chieftains join APC. They're all hedging their bets. And because there's no ideological difference between the two parties, it's very easy for them to do that.
Yeah, that is exactly where I wanted to come into. Because last week on this program, I spoke about this, the issue of ideology, that it has been surprised that in Nigerian political scene, the both two main political parties, let's look at, the APC and PDP. When you look at both are towing the same democratic way. Not like where you can say, okay, where is anyone that has has this kind of who has a conservative idea? Now the both parties are Democrat, but in nature, the people in that party is like you see some conservatives in the Democratic Party purposely to win the election. My fear now is the electorate. The educated elites, they know the difference. But I'm talking about the common man on the street. They don't know that, okay, in parties whereby you have those who have the socialist idea, you have some kind of ideology. I haven't seen a situation whereby the common people on the street will be educated for them to know that the ideology of these two main parties is still the same. And even now, I haven't seen some kind of a manifesto to say that, okay, this is what they have on the table, this is what is going to come up. What is your own take on that? What is your view? Have you observed that as well?
Yeah, to be honest, the PDP and APC could merge tomorrow. They could merge into one party, because you look at the number of people who have crossed parties. It's so large. There's absolutely no ideological backbone to the parties. The only person really there's two people who've been coming up with some ideological message, and that's Omoyele Sowore and Kingsley Moghalu. That would have been genuine left and right politics. Be it minimum wage, be it restructuring, be it education and health and housing. But I haven't heard, like you rightly said, there's no manifesto. I don't know what the APC's housing policy is. I don't know what the PDP's health policy is. And to be honest, I don't think the electorate are too bothered. Once they get their stomach infrastructure, I think they will be happy to vote for whoever gives them the most.
Now, coming to the election properly, let us look at this campaigning the campaigning system, comparing it to what is happening here in the United Kingdom, whereby I think the voters, the electorates, they know their rights. You know, somebody is Labour Party, then if somebody, another person is in conservative or Lib Dem, everybody knows that this is one political party, this is the other political party. Then the politicians will campaign based on their ideology and what is on the ground for them to say that, okay, we are going to do this, we are going to do that. But now it seems that the party followers in Nigeria, they are just following based on series of WhatsApp. Even the campaign is even been extended to party members and followers. Whereby say, you haven't seen anything. You say that you don't see anything from my party. See what is going on. See what we have done. We've done this. We have done that. The electorate now, is there going to be any different from what is in the past? Because you know, in the past, our belief is that, okay, we want the election to be peaceful. We want it to be fair, free and fair. Then whereby no any allegation, no any attack, no any, the hoodlums, whereby police will be able to be in control. Looking at what is on the ground now, I want you to look at the people. That's the electorate. Then look at our security agencies. You know, in times, there are times they usually, I mean, you see some kind of a press release, you can come out jingle from the security agencies that, okay, people should behave orderly. Have you seen anything to show that this election properly is on the ground?
Well, the security agencies are under a lot of pressure from the international community. There's been a lot of talk from the US, the UK, the European Union saying, look, we want free and fair, credible elections in Nigeria. You know, and even the police, INEC, the army, they've all been dropping hints that, look, we are going to be impartial. But the problem we've got in Nigeria is that governments are they never allow these agencies to do their job impartially. They never. Now, with the electorate, the common man who doesn't want to fight, he just wants to vote and go home. But it's when there's a rigging in the constituency, that is where you see people, you know, resorting to mob action. So I just hope we don't have any of that. And it's all these party chieftains, these ward chairmen, these local government chairmen, they need to be watched. They are the ones who can incite trouble. But if we can keep them in bay here, we should have a free, fair, and peaceful election.
Recently, it was widely circulated in the media, whereby the People Democratic Party, the PDP, they accused the present incumbent government that they've been suspecting that there's going to be rig. The election is going to be rigged. Now, the election properly has never been conducted. Don't you see this kind of a statement? Do you think it's not going to have some kind of effect on that election? Let's assume that after the election.
Oh yeah, it will. Already, I suppose the PDP, I think their fears, they've seen certain signs and they're worried. You know, when Governor Ganduje promises I'm going to deliver 5 million votes for President Buhari in Kano before the election, and they're thinking, hey, where are these votes coming from? A situation whereby they see two governors from Niger Republic at the APC rally. And they're probably saying to themselves, hey, are these guys going to be busing people in from Niger Republic to come and vote? So, you know, there'll be one or two things that has made them apprehensive. But hopefully, touch wood, all these will be false alarms and none of that will happen.
Regarding the electorate, as I mentioned earlier on, now the campaign is on and the tension is high. Yeah. Now there was an allegation of presumably, they said maybe it's possible that there could be some kind of vote buying. Now, in your own view, being somebody who follows the trend, do you think it will happen?
Oh yeah, vote buying has now become part of our political culture. If you don't entice the voters with stomach infrastructure, they don't vote for you. I remember during the recent Osho State election, I think it was the APC, one of the APC party leaders. He said, a few days to the election, voters will come to them saying, "What are you doing? The PDP are just giving us rice, gari, yam, cooking oil. If you don't give us, we won't vote for you." And he said they had to follow suit. And that's just the reality of politics in Nigeria today.
So does it mean that there's no any way we could eradicate that, whereby the electorate should be educated for them to know their right, and for them to know that we are all, they are all stakeholder when it comes to election, that, okay, somebody that comes around now and the person had actually said to you with the so-called language in Nigeria, okay, you've been settled, they've given you some kind of a peanut. Then you expect that person, after you've been voted, after that person has been voted for, then the person is going to recoup the amount he had spent. So there is no, you can't challenge this kind of person if that politician doesn't deliver. Because, for instance, it's like buying and selling. Exactly. Somebody who gave you 2,000. You've collected 2,000 now. Election has been taking place. You voted. So can that person have that kind of audacity to approach or to challenge the politician?
No, of course not. Because and you got to remember, when he gives you 2,000, he's probably giving the whole 10,000 people within your local government area that same amount of money. So you multiply that 2,000 naira by 10,000 people. So as soon as he gets into office, the first thing he does is recoup it. What we probably need is a change, is an amendment to the Electoral Act to make it a criminal offense to entice voters with food items. That's probably the only way I can see this stopping, because it's now become a culture.
I think that would be extremely difficult to do, because when you look at it, the so-called politicians, they are the same member of the National Assembly, whereby this law is going to be enacted. And the people at the National Assembly, there are some certain things that we are looking at, something that we believe that maybe something that affected them. They find it difficult to even give it a go. Like say, okay, you want to promulgate, you want to enact a certain law that will prevent this kind of thing. And they, presumably one could say that, okay, they benefited from that kind of a system. Look at that Nigerian factor. Don't you think that's another order? That be very difficult.
But it affects both parties. It affects everybody. So when it affects you, it also affects your opponent. So it's not giving your opponent any advantage. And besides, there are some members of there's a minority of lawmakers in the House of Assembly who don't subscribe to all this, who know it's not right. You know, I'm hoping that we can get maybe an independent members bill, somebody to come and say, hey, come, enough is enough. You know, we really don't want this anymore.
I remember in another forum whereby I pointed and accused fingers to the electorate. I made it clear. I said, look, it has become a common phenomenon in Nigeria whereby we've been accusing the politician and have had opportunity of coming close, covering election, in many places where election is being held, even during the campaign. And from my own observation, I believe that the election, the politicians are not to be blamed in all what is happening in the country. Because one thing is that, I mentioned it in this program a few weeks ago, that look, why about Ayo? I know you personally now, Ayo, I know you. Nobody can give you something that you know that this is not legitimate. You won't take. Why, if anybody should behave in that manner, say, okay, there's a popular saying that the person who is going to take has a power over the person who is giving. Okay, you give, and the person says, no, I don't know. What are you going to do? But decision whereby the people who are ready to take are even yearning, are even calling for it, even asking. So what do we do?
I know, we have a genuine problem here, and the way it's got so bad. I mean, in my state last week, a whole trailer load, there was a trailer that had an accident, a trailer full of rice had an accident. It was a senator who was going to distribute it. And you know, we as a people too have to say, you know what, enough is enough. We're not taking this. It's a mess of porridge. You know, you're going to give us this rice and gari now, and for 4 years we're not going to see you again. But, I mean, our people, I don't know why the penny hasn't dropped with them.
My goodness. But now, are we going to continue with this same system? Because when they put the series of allegations has been put in the door of politicians and the so-called electorate, they haven't changed. And can we look at this way? Can we say sincerely that these politicians, are they really enjoying the trend? Do they want it to continue in this manner?
Well, I think the politicians don't mind, to be honest, because it's a winner-takes-all scenario. If you are in government, it can make a difference between being wealthy and being poor. There's so much money going around in government, especially with governors, so the politicians don't mind. But as you rightly said, the electorate have to stand up and say, enough is enough. We will no longer be bribed. Because the money that is used to buy them all this stomach infrastructure is the money that should be used to fund schools and roads and housing. And, you know, they give you rice and then the road to your village is impassable. What is the benefit of that to you? If they had fixed that road, you could probably get to your farm and grow more rice 10 times more rice than the bag that they are giving to you. But there's something wrong with us as a people. We need a reorientation of our minds.
But having looking at, I mean, having said or having expressing our concern. Now, the issue of ethnicity, the issue of whereby somebody is being, I'm sorry, they say okay, somebody there's some maybe somebody perpetrated an act openly, which everybody can see that okay, this is actually an act of indiscipline. This is not something that we should subscribe to. This is immoral. Something that every right-thinking person should condemn. Then you see, because purposely that person came from some section of a community or particular so one section of a particular area, somebody, huge number of people who now stood up in defense of that person.
Yeah.
Do you think we should continue in this manner as well?
Obviously, that by now, actually, that should have been a thing of the past. But unfortunately, it's still lingering. And the politicians know this, and they know how to fuel these divisions. You understand? When a politician is in danger, all he has to do is go back to his constituency and say, hey, it's these so-called outsiders who are causing the trouble. And that inflames passions again. So again, as a people, we have to stand up to them and say, you know what, no, we will not let you divide us along ethnic lines. You stole money, you've been convicted, we think you should go to jail. The EFCC should charge you and you should be sentenced. Where you are from is none of our concern.
Yes. Because as this our topic is being centered on the forthcoming general election, the presidential one, we believe, is the first one that's going to happen on the 6th of February, which is now, I mean, a few days ago now, we don't want to mention it, they maybe, perhaps they are going to replay this recording. Looking at it, is there going to be any change from the way we are doing things? Is there going to be any change at all from our people? Because that is my concern. I'm looking at our people, the way they are going to see this election, the way they see it, ordinary people on the street. How do they see it? I would like you to look at the ordinary people on the street. Then I want you to critically look at the politician and let me know your own view. What is the preparation of the politician? We are still coming back to those who are going to handle the election.
To be honest, over the next 4 years, I don't see much changing in Nigeria. Because if you look at the way the election has gone, on the one hand, you've got stomach infrastructure. On the other hand, the government is also pushing its trader money program, whereby you actually fill in a form before you are given this trader money. And on that form, you have to include your PVC number. So the government is actually using it as a medium to make sure, it's targeting voters. The PDP knows that it's going on. It's obviously counteracting that with its own enticements. So I don't see anything to them because nobody has actually offered much. The people who are offering a lot are those from the smaller parties who probably won't win. So in terms of the electorate, I don't think the electorate too are expecting too much. They just want the little bit they can get here and now. As per the politicians, I can see just being business as usual for them. After, we'll get everyone will be sworn in on May 29. By June, July, they will start recouping this money they've spent.
Then I want you to address the issue of the politicians themselves again. That, okay, having looking at the electorate, we know that these are the people who are giving.
Yeah.
Those who are giving, if they stop in giving, whereby they come out with a policy that could woo people, that could entice people, that could say, okay, this is brilliant. For instance, I don't want to mention one of the new parties. There is a gentleman who came with fantastic of ideas and programs. Yeah. There are even some of these programs, I'm not saying that he couldn't, due to the fact that everybody's coming out with his own ideas and everybody's coming out with his own ideology and belief. But I haven't seen any momentum from those new parties or their followers. Yeah. But now the issue of giving, whereby the politicians are giving, what stops the so-called the front lines from letting people know their programs? I mean, the era of late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the then Unity Party of Nigeria, National Party of Nigeria, People Redemption Party led by Alhaji Aminu Kano, GNPP, it was Alhaji Ibrahim Waziri, the NAP to Gibrate with. You can see that people are coming out with that. When you see the Unity Party of Nigeria, Shape of Army Awolowo, the slogan is free education, light and so on. People say, free education is Awolowo. So now, do you think, what is what makes our political landscape become very, difficult for people to come out with an idea and real genuine manifestos that could really touch people's heart, that could really convince people?
Well, to be honest, the problem started after the collapse of the Second Republic. Because if you look at 1979, Alhaji Shehu Shagari didn't really spend much money to become elected. By then, politics hadn't become monetized. But after the lengthy military rule and then the return to democracy in 1993, then the collapse of the Third Republic, in 1999, all of a sudden, money just became the issue. It became the central thing. And that corrosive, corrupting politics has just got worse and worse by the day. And because the parties are not set up along ideological lines, you just join because you want to get rich. But as you rightly said, some of the newer, smaller parties are making a difference. And for me, this is where the future lies. You look at Omoyele Sowore, you look at Kingsley Moghalu, you look at Fela Durotoye, and at the state level, there's this guy, Babatunde Gbadamosi in Lagos State.
Yeah.
I really like the policies he's putting forward. Now, these smaller parties have to argue their case with ideologies, with policies, with programs. Hopefully, maybe not now, but maybe 2023, 2027, this will start to resonate, and the electorate will say, you know what, these big two that are just bribing us, we've had enough. We want to go with people with ideas rather than people with money.
Okay. Looking at that aspect, I strongly believe that maybe the government need to put in some kind of a program whereby people will be educated, they will be enlightened. They know that this. You remember during Babangida era, whereby was it not this program called MAMSA, if you remember, whereby this kind of a program, if the present government could put in something like that, whereby people will know that it's so playing jingles. Whereby you know that this jingle, like when Buhari was in the military, you remember 1983, 84, whereby some kind of a war against indiscipline, whereby people will know that at the petrol station, at the post office, even at the post office, you have to kill everything. People will even maintain law and order. No one is crossing the road, and even people. You can't just throw things. Just even throw any things on the street. Do you think anyhow now? Can't this government or at the National Assembly for them to enact a particular law, a law that could address that will enable the electorate to learn or to follow that this kind of a law could assist it?
Well, we actually have a National Orientation Agency. It's a parastatal set up and run by the federal government. The president appoints the chairman, and it's his job to do all these things. But since 1999, neither the PDP or the APC has been interested. They've not made discipline or, reorientating our people a priority. And to be honest, it's not in their interest. They're quite happy with the status quo. So nothing is being done.
But we can't continue like this, or perhaps for us to remain the same. Unlike now, the election is few days now. The allegation is so high from both ways. There are some certain states whereby it's going to be the electorate, let me just use that word, majority of them want it. I won't say some few people, perhaps, maybe just a people want it to go in their way. Don't you think those who want it to go in their own way won't cause any mayhem if they discover that it's not going to that way where they want it to go?
Yeah, there may be some problems, but the Electoral Act is very straightforward. If there's ballot box snatching, you just cancel the voting in that area. If a polling booth is overrun and ballot papers are being snatched and manipulated, INEC has the authority to say, you know what, we're going to cancel the elections from these polling booths. They are not going to be part of our final figures.
Viewers, we would like to go on commercial break. When we come back, we are going to, continue on this program. On commercial break.
My daughter-in-law, so how are you planning for my son's birthday? No, I have to cook up for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No? It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chiji, okay. Hi, sir, wait a market. Please pack some ogirisi. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law, it's arranged, but you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, please include Isio Morocco. My daughter-in-law, everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited you.
Now you can talk until you tire for just 11 kobo per second. Call all networks in Nigeria and 30 international destinations, including US, UK, China, Canada, and India for just 11 kobo per second. Dial *211# to activate.
That's it, boo-boo.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.
My daughter-in-law, so how are you planning for my son's birthday? No, I have to cook up for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No? It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chiji, okay. Hi, sir, wait a market. Please pack some ogirisi. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law, it's arranged, but you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, please include Isio Morocco. My daughter-in-law, everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited you.
Now you can talk until you tire for just 11 kobo per second. Call all networks in Nigeria and 30 international destinations, including US, UK, China, Canada, and India for just 11 kobo per second. Dial *211# to activate.
That's it, boo-boo.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
Okay. Welcome back. Before we go on commercial break, we actually look at the aspect of the electorate. Yeah. Now, what we are going to do, we will look at the election itself, all the relevant agencies that are supposed to conduct it, from INEC, the police, and other relevant agencies. Ayo, from your own view, I want you to look at all these agencies and their readiness. Although INEC, the issue statement, last time I had one of the television houses was interviewing one of the INEC officials, and the gentleman actually explained that they are fully ready. His explanation is quite impressive. But in your own view, do you think INEC is prepared? And our election as well in Nigeria, we've had experience whereby there are a situation of unforeseen circumstances always there. Yeah. I want you to look at INEC.
Well, INEC, in all fairness to them, in 2011 and 2015, they actually held free and fair elections. The process was transparent. There were problems here and there, but in the main, the process was transparent. But that was under Atahiru Jega. We've got a new INEC chairman. Let's just hope he measures up to those standards. Already there's some question marks from the PDP saying they believe INEC is going to inflate the number of polling units. There's some they don't know where they're going to be. We look forward to hearing from INEC about that. With regards to the police, they've also been accused of bias in the past, but we've now got a new Inspector General of Police. Let's see if he measures up to standards. The international community is going to be watching. The Commonwealth, the European Union, the United Nations, the African Union. They're all going to be sending observers. So the army, all the other agencies,
security agencies,
they are all under scrutiny. And the government has promised that these are going to be free and fair elections. So let's just see if there's any foul play. The observers, the international observers, will, make it clear from the word go, and that would then undermine the whole process.
Thank you very much. Regarding, I think before we go on commercial break, we were looking at the politician because everything is centered on the activities of the politicians.
Yeah.
Whereby, on a number of occasions, people times to be accusing them. They will accuse the politicians that most of all some kind of a bad act. They believe they are the one perpetrating it. But you remember I mentioned it earlier on that I'm of the view that whereby if we say corruption, the politicians are corrupting the electorate, and we argue here that the electorate, I don't believe that I strongly believe that they are to be blamed, because whereby when you give somebody and somebody doesn't take, you won't have any cause of alarm. But our politicians now, have they learned anything from all kind of the problem that is happening now? We mentioned about the Second Republic, and we all seen that then there was kind of allegation and counter allegation among the parties. Even then, we strongly believe that there is what we call party discipline. Mm-hmm. But now, some of things that has not even happened then, you believe some of the bad act that led to the collapse of the Second Republic. Mm-hmm. I bet you, from my own view, I think it has happened presently, and the situation is under control. Our politicians, do you think they've learned anything? Are they even not the people who wanted to truncate democracy?
Well, the sad reality is that in Nigeria, politics is an entrepreneurial activity. You go in there to get rich, you go in there to make money. So when you say that the politicians learned anything, what are they interested in? They're only interested in assuming office and using it to get contracts, oil blocks, 15, 10%. You just look at the number of retired governors, senators, ministers who own this contract for that highway in their state, this contract for that toll gate. They're the ones supplying bitumen to supply to tar road. They're the one supplying a hospital. It's entrepreneurial. You get in there and you use it to sort yourself out for life. So I don't think the politicians are really interested in all these socio-economic programs that you and me would be interested in. Housing, health centers, schools, roads, railway network.
Good health.
They are not interested. That's not what they're going there for.
But now, with what is happening presently, let us take a critical look at it, because it's been common phenomenon hereby. They said, the rich, they are becoming richer, while the poor are becoming poorer. And we look at all these, their own activities, their act. It is the common man on the street who are actually feeling it. Most of everything, all their act, the common man are feeling it. Is of their actions are of a detriment of the common man, where they benefited immensely. Do you think there's anything we as people, I'm talking about the electorate, do you think there's anything we could do? Because now politicians, they are part of the electorate. They too, they are Nigerians, they are civilians, they are part of us before they've been elected into for them to be in the helm of affairs. What are the electorate? What do you think they could do? It's in your by we don't leave it to the politician to address these norms. What do you think the electorate should do?
Well, the electorate just have to stand up and say enough is enough. We're not taking this anymore. I mean, just to give you a classic example, your senators earn something like what, $30,000 a month as salary, but when it comes to the poor man, to approve 30,000 naira minimum wage is a problem. You understand? So they know what they're doing. They look after themselves, but you are not. You know, they don't care about you. They keep you impoverished, and the thing is that once they keep you impoverished, it's a lot easier to bribe you with rice and gari and other forms of stomach infrastructure. So our electorate have to stand up and say, you know what, we don't want this mess of porridge anymore. What we want is roads, houses, hospitals, schools. And at the end of every 4 years, when we have election cycles like this, we should be telling our politicians, you know what, we think you should stand on your record. You've been governor of this state for 4 years. Please come and tell us what you've done. You've been senator for 4 years. We want to see the bills you passed in the National Assembly that improve our welfare. Are we doing this? We're not holding them accountable.
Now, the issue of the National Assembly, which you mentioned, you know, they control the floor of the House. They enacted the law. They decided what they really wanted. Can the people prevent them from doing that?
Oh yeah, I mean, look, worldwide.
What are the mechanisms?
Look, worldwide, whenever a House of a Parliament, a House of Assembly, National Assembly doesn't do what the people say, demonstrators gather outside and they keep their protests going for as long as necessary until they get their way. Actually, over the last week in Lagos State, the Lagos State House of Assembly wanted to impeach the governor, but demonstrators surrounded the House of Assembly and insisted they should leave the governor alone because apparently it was said that the parliamentarians wanted somebody to bankroll their campaigns. And he said no. And demonstrators said no. We stand with the governor. We're not going to allow you to force him to loot the Lagos State Treasury just to bankroll your campaigns. And they had to back down. So if we put our foot down, we can't force them to back down and say, you know what, hey guys, they can just look at the situation and say, look, the people won't take this, so we're not going to go ahead with it.
Now, this issue, the example you cited is Lagos State, is a state at the federal level, whereby they have the power of police, to use police, whereby they have the power to bar people from coming to the National Assembly, even if they go. People still believe they have power and they look at it like, okay, look, they are just only for today. They're not going to come here tomorrow. Even we've seen in the past whereby some kind of non-governmental organization whereby mobilize people. And most of the people they mobilize, you cannot even see them that they are genuine, ordinary people on the street. It seems that maybe these people, there are some quarters, there are some believe in some quarters that maybe they hire crowd, they hire them, they pay them. So genuinely our people, do you think our people really feel it? Or for them to really feel it, people will feel the impact of the wronged. Then that's okay, we wanted to address it. Because it seems that there is no any strong opposition coming from our people.
Yeah, you're right. People feel the impact, but they just don't act on it. And that is something we need to get right. People don't appreciate the fact that democracy also involves the participation of the masses. You have to put pressure on your elected representatives to represent you well. You know, when the National Assembly refuses to pass a common 30,000 naira minimum wage for the ordinary man on the street, there should be hundreds of thousands of people outside that complex every day saying, you know what, we're not living here until you give us a decent living wage. I mean, what is 30,000 naira to the politician? They give that to their girlfriends as transport money, probably every day.
Even above that.
Above that, thank you. So, you know, we don't do that. And that's why they're getting away with it. Whenever we put pressure on them, they back down. You recollect a few months ago when the DSS surrounded the National Assembly and wanted to prevent people going in, certain people stood up to them and they had to back down. So when we put them under pressure, they do move. But as you rightly said, there is not enough of that from the common man.
I am being concerned because most of these things, what we are discussing now, we've been discussing it repeatedly. This issue has become an ongoing thing. There's no thing we wanted to discuss about Nigerian political scene, which is new. Let's go back from the First Republic, the act of the behavior of the politician then led to the collapse of that First Republic, it led to the coup of January 15, 1966. Another counter coup again, July 1967. From that July 1967, we had military. We had Gowon was there for nearly 9 years or before Muritala Mohammed took over. After Muritala Mohammed, another coup then that is led by Sukabuka Dinka. Our people have they learned anything from all this? It's like we are up and down, up and down.
Our people seem to be under the erroneous impression that the solution to Nigeria's problems is that one day a Messiah is going to come and solve all their problems, and this good, honest, decent president has got a magic wand he can wave, and it will solve end corruption, it will provide them with social services and amenities. And we have to be telling them, no, that's not going to happen. If this country is going to get better, you have got to be the vanguard. You have got to be the ones who push your politicians. Because, you see, there's 109 senators in the Nigerian Senate at the moment. Now, if you went to Oshodi Market and picked 109 people at random, you find out that their thinking is no different from that of the senators.
Absolutely.
They're just as corrupt, they're just as nonchalant, they're just as self-serving. So until we as a people are prepared to say, you know what, we want change, we want proper, genuine change, the politicians are not going to act, because they are just they're what you call a mirror reflection of the people. You know, their actions and attitudes just echo what we, the people, think. So, you know, the change has got to come from below, not from on top.
Now, we've mentioned it. Is there anything that we think we could do? Maybe perhaps now the agencies are there and they are not functioning. And we want our people to be educated. Now we've been accusing the politicians, as I said earlier, that we've been accusing the politicians, and we find it very difficult to mobilize our people. There's no anything. For instance, it's like what we discussed regarding give and take. Our people still believe they wanted to take, no matter how they wanted to take. This present election now, it's like they are doing it in kind of a decent way, whereby it's not being, openly displayed. But I believe there are some beliefs in some quarters that maybe are they distributing it at night? Is there any other way of reaching out to people? Because it's like the politicians, they have this confidence, they have overconfidence that to get to people is very easy. What is your own observation regarding that?
I understand. They've put in place a very good distribution network so that the stomach infrastructure gets to the wards. You know, I just wish our politicians would come up with a distribution network for Nigerian food that way. You know, food prices will probably be cheaper. You know, the stomach infrastructure goes from the party chairman down to the state chairman. From there, it goes down to the local government chairman. There it goes to the ward chairman. And the ward chairman knows everybody who lives within his ward. You know, at night, as you say, the food gets distributed. Very, very efficient. You know, our politicians can be very efficient when they want to be. And when they don't want to be, they don't care. Again, as a people, if we just say, you know what, ward chairman, keep your rice. We don't want it. We want the road in this ward. We want it tarred so that we can get to the state capital in an hour and not in 5 hours.
Okay. My attention is being drawn by the commercial department. We are going on commercial break. After the commercial, we will zoom back. Commercial department.
My daughter-in-law. So how are you planning for my son's birthday? I have to cook for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No. It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chiji, okay. Hi, so wait a market. Please pack some ogirisi. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law. It's arranged. But you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, please include Isio Morocco. My daughter-in-law. Everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited.
Now you can talk until you tire for just 11 kobo of a second. Call all networks in Nigeria and 30 international destinations, including US, UK, China, Canada, and India for just 11 kobo per second. Dial *211# to activate.
That's silk boo-boo.
The largest data network. Glow, grandmasters of data.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.
My daughter-in-law, so how are you planning for my son's birthday? I have to cook up for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No? It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chiji, okay. Hi, so wait a market. Please pack some ogirisi. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law, it's arranged, but you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, please include Isio Morocco. My daughter-in-law, everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited you.
Now you can talk until you tire for just 11 kobo per second. Call all networks in Nigeria and 30 international destinations, including US, UK, China, Canada, and India for just 11 kobo per second. Dial *211# to activate.
That's silk boo-boo.
The largest data network. Glow, grandmasters of data.
Welcome back. Mr. Akinfe, let us look at the aspect of the election, as we said, before we go on commercial break. The area we are looking at is very, very crucial. We look at the security agencies, and then we look at the INEC, their readiness, their preparation. We are actually on the National Assembly looking at how they've been enacting laws. Then the law of the labor now regarding the minimum wages. The labor themselves, do you think the labor movement, compared to the 10 in the past, do you see any change? Or do you think the present labor movement, does the people feel their impact, like mounting pressure on the government regarding
the labor
if there's anything they needed?
The labor movement cannot be divorced from the general crisis of Nigeria. It's obviously been corrupted. The labor leadership is not as robust as it used to be in the days of Paul Michael Imodu. You know, he would never, when he was the labor leader, he would never have tolerated this. He would have given them an ultimatum. You give us our 30,000 or we go on strike. Because you people have found money for campaigns, you found money for buses. You look at the amount that the parties are spending on these elections. It's a lot more than this increment in minimum wage. These governors, all of a sudden, they're finding billions of dollars to bankroll their parties, but they're saying they can't pay their workers. Now, so the labor leadership has not been robust enough. But I'm hoping that the rank and file push their leaders to say, you know what, you union leaders, please, you have to start fighting for us, or we're going to get rid of you.
The electorate, as we said, that's the people, the ordinary people on the street now, looking at all aspects. It's like both the politicians they failed them. Then the labor movement, even some non-governmental organization whereby coming out of with the pretext of protecting the right of common people.
Yeah.
Does the people that they are representing, did they themselves, appreciate it, or are they even ready to fight for?
The politicians will even tell you that when they go to campaign with manifestos, the people will tell you, now manifesto we go chop. Now road we go chop. There are people who are just saying, look, if you don't bring anything, please don't come and hit me with big grammar. So we as a people, I must keep making this point. As a people, we have got to change ourselves if we want to change our society. And with all this going on, we're just not going to get the improvements we need, because we're not even debating the issues. The two main parties are not debating the issues. How do we increase revenue? How do we boost our economy? How do we diversify production? We're not talking about that. We're just quite happy to sit back, get oil money and share it. That is no way to run a country.
But looking at the political parties, it's like coming up. At the present, was it almost 71 political parties that come out for this election now? Now, in any society, in any country, most of all the country of the world, whereby we don't see this kind of endless kind of political parties, whereby people they know all the parties, they know their ideas, that okay, this party stand for this, the other party stand for that. We've addressed the issue of whereby the two main political parties are of side of the same coin, whereby one hardly find it extremely difficult to even differentiate one party from another, except the gladiators. They know that this is so person, this is where he belongs, this is where we know he always belongs. And people now, with other parties who are coming up now, the people themselves, don't you think with this large number of parties, are they not confusing our people?
Yeah, you've got to bear in mind that of the 70 candidates, probably only about 6 are genuine. A lot of the others are doing which is a new thing in Nigerian politics, are doing what we call positioning. You make a lot of noise, you float a party, you run for president, it looks good on your CV. When somebody wins the election, you then get appointed to head a parastatal. That's a good way of getting yourself recognized. I mean, even a few months ago, the APC chairman, Adanza Shomale, said he was even getting phone calls from some of these candidates telling him that if they want him to stand down, they should hand him some money, pay them a handsome sum, and they will stand down and support the APC. So, yes, that is happening, but again, it's part of this corruption of our politics. There's only probably about a handful, half a dozen maybe, genuine candidates who've got programs and manifestos. Most of the others are just positioning.
But when this kind of people, or perhaps this kind of a system is being allowed in our polity, is there any way Nigeria could move? Is there any way we can move forward in our country with this kind? Is there any way that government can check the system, that the security agencies, whereby thorough security vetting before somebody can come out with any political parties? Don't you think it's part of the work of our security agencies? Well, any measures?
Yeah, in most democracies there is a checklist, there's a vetting process. I think in France you have to get 50,000 signatures before you can run for president. We can amend our electoral act to include certain checks. So you know what, we're a country of 180 million people. Okay, to run for president, you should be able to get maybe 500,000 signatures. All that can be done, but knowing our people, they will try and find a way around it.
I remember the era of, you remember that era of SDP and NRC, whereby some photographer, there was an accusation that a particular politicians are going to photographers' shop for them to get lot of people's passport, whereby getting people's passport photograph, whereby they will put it on their distance. I said, they come with a lot of bags of documents taken to then Fedeco office in Nonico, where you see also this. I just believe that people, is there any way that our people can change? Because everything comes to the door of ordinary man on the street.
Exactly. And, until we get that right, we're not going to get Nigeria right. Because the politician is detached from the ordinary man. He doesn't feel the pinch. He's not the one who spends 8 hours in the Lagos traffic going from Mile 12 to Lagos Island. It's the ordinary man, until we say, look, hey guys, we need a railway network so that I can go from Ketu to Lekki in 2 hours and back, which is what it would be. In London here, that kind of distance would not take you more than an hour, would it? In Lagos, you can spend 8 hours sitting in traffic. So the solution is with the people. It's not going to come from the top. So let's hope that after this election, after they finish their rice and gari and yam and cooking, people will now sit back and say, hey, okay, enough is enough. From now onwards, we're going to apply a little bit of common sense to what we do.
Mr. Ayo Akinfe, it's been my pleasure. I sincerely appreciate your coming. And it's like virtually all the aspects of this election is what we have actually addressed. Viewers, this is where we are going to end this program this week. Next week we'll come out with in the new edition, new program, and as well we sincerely appreciate everyone there in the house and in the office, all our viewers. Mr. Akinfe, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
This is where we are going to draw the curtain of this program. So until when we bring a new edition to you next week, my name is Saladi Jitaudu from Heritage Studio here in London. Thank you. Mm-hmm.